A good injectors know how to inject. A better injector knows when to inject. The best injector knows when not to inject. And I think this is advice we need to always pass to the junior doctors who are just graduating and being sucked into the industry. It's going to be fun and games at the beginning, but later on, if you don't have that solid foundation to practice and use in aesthetics, you're going to have certain limitations. I think 51% of the patients make a decision about doing an aesthetic procedure based on social media solely. If social media is taking over and influencers with no education are taking over giving advice, we're heading to a very dark time.
Welcome to Inside Aesthetics, the world's most listened to podcast for injectors and aesthetic businesses. I'm Dr. Jake Sloan, a facial aesthetic doctor, trainer and speaker with over 17 years experience.
And I'm David Siegel, an aesthetic entrepreneur and business mentor who's been working within our industry for over 2 decades. IA is a podcast aimed at educating aesthetic practitioners from around the world. The information contained within our episodes is general in nature and should not be used by the general public to make health or treatment decisions. You should seek the advice of a qualified healthcare professional in your country and have a bespoke consultation.
For our latest news, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and now you can also watch our full episodes on YouTube and Spotify. All of our links are down in the show notes below. Now let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Inside Aesthetics, the world's most listened to podcast for injectors and cosmetic businesses. We are still at ICCE conference. This is, I think, our 4th or 5th podcast now. But if you've missed the other ones we've recorded, please check them out. They're really good conversations. So David, who have we got today? Who's our special guest?
We've got our fantastic friends already. We just met yesterday over dinner, but like 2 peas in a pod. It was great to meet you. Actually met you through Constantine, who's been on the podcast before.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. And we saw him again here in Dubai. So we're joined by Dr. Rami Haidar, all the way from Dubai, and we just missed you. We were there, we missed you. Now we know each other. We're sorry we missed you, but next time we're going to.
Now we know we've got a bed to sleep in if we're in Dubai again.
Oh man, thank you. Obviously, you're always welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Jake, Dave, I've heard a lot about you. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So introduce yourself to our listeners who haven't come across Rami yet.
Right.
What do you do? What's your background?
My name is Rami Haidar. I'm a British-born Syrian blood maxillofacial surgeon based in Dubai.
Right.
You're confused.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I've been in Dubai. I've been in the Gulf area since 2012. Trained, practiced in the UK, and living the dream of aesthetics now.
Where did you grow up in the UK?
So here's the thing. I grew up in Saudi Arabia, but I trained and practiced in the UK.
Okay.
I grew up in Riyadh, where my father was based. And then I moved to the UK. Home is Cardiff, but was born in London.
Okay, so good British education, then back to the Middle East.
Back to the Middle East, back to homeland. Yeah.
You're a max fac surgeon. You're here at a non-surgical event. Tell us about your background in terms of, studying surgery, moving into the aesthetic space, and then making the transition to a more non-surgical based practice. And we were talking a little bit about this over dinner last night.
So I spent about 12 years in governmental hospitals doing maxillofacial surgery. I did a lot of trauma. I did a lot of head and neck cancers. We did orthognathic surgery as well. As I moved to Saudi Arabia, I worked in a military hospital, a governmental military hospital called the National Guard Hospital. I worked there for 5 years before moving to Dubai. And slowly as I was working, I started my career in aesthetics in the UK. But as I moved to the Middle Eastern region, I realized how big the scope of practice there. The half a day started turning into 1 day, turned into a weekend. And then slowly I thought, right, am I spending, I can't do both. So I had to choose. Am I investing my rest of my career in governmental hospitals doing trauma, or am I doing aesthetics? So I decided I chose charity and I went into aesthetics.
Well, sort of similar background to you.
Similar to me, yeah. For me, it was a big call to sort of leave that world behind of all the training and years and exams and whatever. But actually, I haven't looked back. I don't know how you feel.
I think it's a lifestyle choice. I think I had so much fun and I wouldn't change it for the world. I would always get the comment, would you have moved before? Absolutely not. It was the right time. Working in hospitals thickens our skin. It teaches us the real deal. And I think this is advice we need to always pass to the junior doctors who are just graduating and being sucked into the industry. It's going to be fun and games at the beginning, but later on, if you don't have that solid foundation to practice and use in aesthetics, then you're going to have certain limitations.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You obviously live in Dubai now. How many years have you been there for?
2018, 5 years now.
Okay,
5
so
years.
many people have heard of Dubai, but some maybe have not been. Could you just sort of explain the city, the dynamic, the people that you're seeing?
Dubai is a beautiful place. Here's what you need to think about it. So if you think of you putting a backpack and traveling the world, getting from one plane to another, from Africa to Asia to Europe to Australia, Dubai is giving you that while you're staying in the same place. So you get this exposure, unlimited exposure of different backgrounds, different nationalities from all around the world coming in to this one hub where you get to experience it in a safe environment, beautiful weather 8 months of the year, in a luxurious atmosphere.
Coming from a Max Fax background, do you think that that's given you a lot of benefits and insights into how you approach your non-surgical practice?
100,000%, absolutely. The training, understanding the anatomy, the layers. When you're doing trauma and seeing how bad things are, little things won't scare you.
Yeah.
You've seen it all. You get to explain it better to your patients. As I said, your skin is way thicker. You could defend yourself from the bullets. You got a shield there. So, I think that's what surgical training does to you. The long shifts, which you don't see now, but this is, the sleeping in a single bed or in the ICU unit next to a patient, monitoring their flap for 12 hours is what makes you a good, confident, aesthetic injector later on.
Do you agree that surgical anatomy is quite different to injectable anatomy? I mean, obviously it's the same face, but the way you approach it, you can just lift up a flap and do what you like when you're surgically doing it. But from an injector's perspective, and for the audience listening, you've got to have a 3D sort of visualization. You can't see it.
It's all about depth.
Yeah.
It's all about those layers.
Yeah.
It's all about understanding where the artery is as far as layers. Is it more superficial, deep? It's about understanding if anything goes wrong, where it could end up. And it's understanding as well, if you want to block or numb an area, you could go around it by blocking, doing the certain block in a region rather than just infiltrating a certain point. So those are all very important elements that come in very handy in your practice on daily basis. And this is why today, if you look at it, so I think aesthetics have evolved throughout, because the aesthetics industry, what is it, 15 years, 20 years? If you look at surgery, it's hundreds of years. And whether we like it or not, I think is very influenced by businessmen. And if you look at big conferences that has been going on for, let's say, 15 years, if you look at the programs in the first 5 years, it was all about techniques, how to do this, how to do that. The 5 years after, how to deal with complications.
Disasters. Yeah.
Today, it's about anatomy and science and research. They realize that this, and if time goes back, this should have come first. The cool thing about being surgically trained or having the foundation of training, whether dermatology or surgery, is you've had that foundation to start off with. And today, if you look at the courses, the most valuable courses for the injectors are not the techniques, are the anatomy cadaver workshop.
I was just going to say, would your advice be to any listeners that might be at the start of their journey, maybe haven't even started yet, to go to a cadaver course early on?
100%. They need to start with it. And I think any respectful academy should have that in their module, wherever it is around the world. But it has to be done. It does help a lot in as far as understanding the layers, where to inject, and dealing with complications.
So how did you commence your journey in injectable training? So you came from surgery and you've been exposed to this crazy world that we're all involved in. Where did you start your training? Who was educating you? What was your, I guess, training progression like?
Good.
Yeah.
My first experience with aesthetics was injecting botulinum toxin for something called Frey's syndrome. Frey's syndrome is basically when a parotid gland is removed because of a tumor. Back in the days, what would happen is people start sweating when they're thinking of food because the stimulation happens to the saliva, to the sweat glands. So it was treated with botulinum toxin, injected superficially in order to stop that. So I thought, right, and we would get the vial and we would use it, and then you'd have the nurses standing outside going, can we have whatever's left in our forehead, please? So I thought, right, let's start with, so let's do this course. And the first course was that I did was a 1-day course called Introduction into Botulinum Toxin and Fillers, where you go in, 0 slides about anatomy, all about techniques, where to inject the botulinum toxin. If you wanted to add the filler aspect, they would teach you how to do the nasolabial, and it was a very simple technique. Here's a syringe, inject it under the nostril of the nose, and here's your certificate, you're ready to inject. That's how crazy it was.
What year was that?
That was 2009, 8, 9?
Okay, mine was 2008. It was exactly the same
Yeah?
experience.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
And then you would walk out. And obviously it was sponsored by a company, but you still had to pay for it. You would walk out thinking you got the confidence of the world. This is very easy. And that's why techniques in conferences moved into complications when they realized that's not the case. Just because we have an antidote for fillers doesn't mean you could inject it the way you want.
Can I ask, as a surgeon, did you struggle with, in a way, the simplicity of how injectables was taught? Did you think this is kind of beneath me in a way? Like I want to do more serious stuff?
That course, yes. But when I started learning more about it and seeing the complication, I have so much respect for it. And I think it is and I understand it is a very dangerous and risky procedure that we need to be very careful when we're treating and when we're educating.
Yeah. Who were your role models and influencers and people that sort of helped you along your journey, particularly in the early days?
When I first came in, the first conference I had, they had a video of Dr. Arthur Swift, and I was bedazzled. I was looking at it thinking, wow, I was in awe. And slowly along, I started meeting really interesting people and making a lot of friends, most of them who have been on your show. So I think it's unfair to say one person. Every part of my journey, I was looking up to someone to get the education experience from.
How would you describe your aesthetic style or your philosophy to injecting? Like, you've learned from different role models and teachers and you work with different companies. Like what's your sort of style?
It was a learning curve. Today, I'm known the one who says no more than yes.
Yeah.
So
That comes with time.
It does come. So a good injectors know how to inject. A better injector knows when to inject. The best injector knows when not to inject.
And is that like based on anatomy? Is that based on attitude or, red flags that you're getting from the patient?
I would start with psychological.
Right.
You need to control your patient's psychological expectation, because patients are walking in healthy. They don't have any problems. They are okay. It's not black and white. It's a very gray area. And beauty is something very subjective, not objective. So what you find beautiful is different. So, and that's why consultations have to be extended and it's to be longer than treatments, because you need to understand what to expect from them. And if you think that it's not going to satisfy them, just don't do it.
If you don't give yourself enough time to build that trust, that rapport, you don't know what you're doing. You can't create a plan and you don't know what they're thinking in their mind.
You have to just avoid it.
Yeah.
Just avoid it.
So we met you at this conference as a speaker for Chroma, and you guys have been great, really sort of taking us under your wing and taking us out for dinner. But give people insight into the life of being a KOL. It's a bit of a weird world, just sort of flown around the world, and you come to events like this. We just watched you do live injecting, which is a very artificial, kind of unusual experience, half in the dark. So tell people who maybe are aspiring to that role one day.
KOL is a beautiful role, because it gives a lot of exposure, it gives a lot of experience, and it allows you to meet really cool people. Not you guys, but cool. No, it does give you, can't take this out. No, it does allow you to get reintroduced and expose you to good people. Here's the thing. In order to be a KOL, you need to build experience to get KOL. It's not a showman show. It's not a show, right? So unless you build your experience in practice and clinic, because that's what a true KOL is. They are coming to such conferences and giving the experience they've had in the clinic when they were practicing. It's not a YouTube video. It's not something you hear about from Instagram and you just repeat it. So make sure, number one, have the right balance between your clinical practice and KOLing. Number two, don't bluff. Expose and tell what you have been practicing, because your audience are not are very intelligent and smart people, and they know that when they're going to know when you're bluffing and just repeating something everyone's saying.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your podcast. Just a quick message about our Patreon and how you can support us as a podcast. So David, what is Patreon?
So Patreon is an on-demand subscription service that allows you to access our global community of practitioners, business owners, and essentially it's a place where you can come together, get positive support, advice. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced KOL, there is a place for everybody.
Yeah, so if you download the Patreon app, search for Inside Aesthetics, there are two main options to subscribe. You can become a free member where we can communicate with you, share our news, involve you in competitions, etc. Or you can become a full subscriber for 50 Australian dollars a month. And there you get access to the WhatsApp community where people are sharing and getting advice. But also within the Patreon app, David does a lot of business coaching and mentoring. So I think you've drilled down to various topics that have cropped up that have been communicated in our WhatsApp group.
I mean, just today we recorded some content. It's quite a nuanced space, and the challenges that business owners and practitioners come up against in this space is quite difficult to get advice on. So always happy to share my knowledge and all of my mistakes and lessons learned along the way.
And then I, of course, tackle injectable content. I often involve patients or talk about new products, anatomy, and all that good stuff. So if you like what we do, consider subscribing to our Patreon. Now let's get back into the podcast.
You touched on the consultation process and how important it is. Can you walk us through briefly, like what the patient journey looks like with you within your practice in terms of, patient books in, what happens before they actually see you? How do you map out your consultation process? Because, as you guys both said, I mean, and for me as well, I think it's the most important part. I mean, I think patients just expect a good clinical outcome. They're safe. They're going to walk out with nothing gone wrong. They're going to get the result that they're looking for. That's just what they expect. But in terms of how you set the stage for that and how you guide that patient through that process, how you retain them, how you keep them coming back, referring their friends, that journey is not really spoken about. So I'd be interested to know how you sort of map that out.
A healthy clinic in aesthetics, you have to retain 2/3 and see 1/3. When you audit your monthly patients, 2/3 should be retainable patients and 1/3 should be new patients. In order to turn that 1/3 into 2/3 into retainable, you have to give them a good journey. So as the patient reaches the clinic, regardless of what platform they came in, whether it was the word of mouth, social media, or they just contacted the clinic, they come into the clinic with an appointment. So number one, I don't accept walk-ins. Everyone has to have an appointment. A walk-in patient is someone very
Unpredictable.
unpredictable and hasn't planned it.
Spontaneous.
I want someone who
Red
really
flag.
thought about coming in. Red flag. They are received by my reception team and my patient relations. According to rules and regulations, the vital signs have to be taken for every single patient who walks in. After that, they walk into my studio. That's before me seeing them. They walk into the studio, and we've got two diagnostic tools: the normal photographer, the professional photographer who's going to take photos, and something to analyze the skin. So we'll
Like a Visio or something like that.
either a vector camera, Visia, Aura, whatever it is. And so once that is done, the patient walks up to my clinic. By the time they are in the clinic, I've got everything on the screen. So now we've got the pictures, the photos, a mirror in front of the patient. What's bothering you? How can we help? I never suggest. I ask them what's bothering them. Again, because those patients walked in very healthy, and we take it from there. Once that is done, before leaving, they do another photo. We make sure that every single patient leave with a follow-up appointment and a team member contacting them within 24 hours from the appointment.
Yeah. How do you tackle the conversation where they've said, my tear troughs are bothering me, but that it's maybe not a tear trough issue. Maybe there's a deficit in the malar fat pad region that's dropped down here. How do you sort of, take someone from an indication that they think is the issue to what you as an expert know is the actual problem?
So we have a lot of illustrations. So I always think of them, I enjoy educating patients. So rather than telling them, no, you're wrong, what we need to do is this, explain to them why they are wrong through anatomical pictures.
Yes.
So we've got, on the computer, we've got folders, the orbital folder, the mid-face folder, the chin folder, the lips folder. And in each one, we've got illustrations, anatomy, why this is happening, how the body changes with time. By explaining and educating your patients, this is how you will get the the satisfaction of them. So so rather than telling them what they need to do, you are both making a decision of what you want to do.
Talking about products that you have in your clinic, and by the way, you got a very fancy clinic, so we'll also about your clinic as well. You're a speaker for Chroma, but in your own practice, do you carry different types of toxins? Do you have a portfolio or just one? Why do you choose that?
It's a polyclinic. We've got dentists, we've got dermatologists, we've got plastic surgeons, and myself. So we've got quite a big team working side to side. And I think it's all about MDT, multidisciplinary teams, creating a plan. If the dentist is doing a nice smile, they might complement it with a little bit of fillers. If I'm doing a certain treatment and I find a lesion that I'm not very comfortable, I've got my dermatologist to have a look at it. So it's just combination treatment with everyone.
By the way, retention of 66% in Dubai, which is a very transient region of the world, is very, very good.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the equivalent of probably 80% anywhere else, probably, because people come and go from there all the time. So holding on to the patients
It's
difficult.
It's very challengeable. It's very challenging, very challenging.
So back to toxins. Which one do you stock and why? I'm not going to let you escape that question.
Listen, I've got Xymene, I've got Dysport, I've got Botox, and I've got
Okay, you've got
Botulinum.
all of the ones available.
I've got all of the ones that are FDA approved by the UAE government.
Actually, that's a good point. Do you have a lot of counterfeit and black market kind of thing happening in Dubai?
Not in the UAE, thankfully, not that I'm aware of.
Right. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sort of speaking of, approval processes and boards and regulators, we were having a chat last night around some of the laws that have changed in Dubai around patient complaints, patient dissatisfaction. We live in a very litigious world these days. Sometimes patients have unrealistic expectations. So what's the current state of play in relation to that?
So they're trying to restrict the upselling of procedures to patients in the UAE. They recently have changed where they put the responsibility on the doctor to satisfy their patients.
Fair enough. So it's a little bit gray, but it's your job to be as ethical as you can, of course.
100%.
No upselling.
No upselling, no performing procedures the patients don't need.
Okay, which is really tricky.
Yeah.
And we're in a patient-led, non-health-based kind of practice.
I'll tell you what, my patients are signing a lot of papers before I start.
Gone through the same in Australia. It's maybe a little bit more punitive, maybe a little bit more restrictive, but I personally think it's going to be better in the long run.
I think I'm very pro protecting the patients, because not all patients come in educated the way the doctor is educated. So it's very unfair for the doctor to take advantage of that. Not all our patients, whether we like it or not, and this has been published in the Plastic and Reconstructive Journal, I think 51% of the patients make a decision about doing an aesthetic procedure based on social media solely.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
That is crazy. Social media is the Can you imagine someone carrying a labubu?
Yeah.
Educating them.
Did you agree with what I was saying in my talk? That was essentially my message.
Yeah,
there.
100%. 100%.
What about fillers? Do you have the whole range of fillers available to you in Dubai, or is it specific brands that you stock?
We do have all the FDA approved fillers. It's not, I'll tell you what, it's not easy to license and get the FDA approval in Dubai. So every product that is present and FDA approved, you know that it's a very good product.
So it's not as crazy as Europe, where there's hundreds of things available.
No, it's way more restricted. A lot of paperwork is needed. As far as I know, don't quote me, they need the fillers, or the product has to be on the market for a certain amount of years before being FDA approved, just because it should have enough research on it.
Hey guys, quick interruption from me to let you know I will be presenting a workshop for Alma Lasers here in Sydney on the 10th of November at their head office. And it is all about how to build a sustainable and successful aesthetic practice in 2025. If you'd like to register to come along, all of the information will be in our show notes. Looking forward to seeing you there.
So let's talk a little bit about your clinic. We were at dinner last night. You were showing me some photos of your patient journey, like what it looks like to actually walk through your clinic. Amazing, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Very spectacular.
Thank you.
And I've just found out you work with Dr. Pega, who was on our podcast back in episode 118. So shout out to Pega if you're listening.
Pega's a good friend.
Oh yeah. So Dr. Pega is a good colleague. I've known Dr. Pega for years and years. And when I opened the clinic, I thought, right, who better to get someone who is very educational, someone who is very science-based, someone who knows what they're doing, and Pega ticks all those boxes.
Yeah. Small world.
Shout out to Pega if you're watching this. Okay, so you've been in Dubai, I think you said since 2018, was that right?
Yes, sir.
And when did you open your business?
6 months ago.
Oh, okay, so it's really fresh and
It's
new.
really fresh, yeah.
The paint is still drying.
Yeah. So give us some insight into how difficult or hard it is to open a business. Is there a lot of restriction? Do you have to have a special license? Do you have to be a doctor?
You don't have to be a doctor. You have to be a doctor to practice, but you don't have to be a doctor to open a business. So you don't have to be a doctor to own it. As far as the bureaucracy of it, there's pretty much nil bureaucracy in it. The challenges we find is that during our undergrad and postgrad, they didn't teach us how to do budgets, bro.
He can talk about this.
They didn't teach us how to manage people.
Yeah.
As a doctor throughout your career, you always had someone, especially when you're working in a governmental hospital, to pass the bucket to,
Taking the money, doing all the backs.
doing the management, da 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 da. I mean, at some point, you could even complain about not having your coffee hot enough. I'm the guy now that have everyone passing the bucket to, so I need to deal with that. It's a very steep learning curve, challenging learning curve, but I'm loving every second of it.
What are the biggest challenges, do you think? Like, what have been like the biggest eye-opening revelations that you've had? Things that you thought were true that weren't true, that aren't true, or vice versa?
Managing people.
Yeah, it's hard, right? You have to be a chameleon.
I think it's one thing to be friends and going out for dinner and enjoying your time. It's another thing when you have money involved, bro. That's where it's challenging. That's where true colors show.
Yeah. My dad used to say, friendship stops at $2,000.
That's a really good. Yeah, that's a very safe.
Yeah. But it is hard, right? Because, you're dealing with feelings and emotions and, sensitivity to certain things. And, you're looking at a situation from two different perspectives and you're trying to run a business. You've got patience. It's stressful.
If you got 10 employees only, you got 10 lives that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
And you have 10 people who have daily problems that you need to sort out. I'm talking about a small scale, little business that has 10 employees. So a clinic and a practice has way more from different backgrounds, different educations. So slowly we're getting there. Yeah. But I think that's the one thing I underestimated.
Yeah. Can you explain the tax situation in Dubai? We keep on hearing that you have to pay tax. You keep all the money that you earn. Is that true?
So that's changing.
Okay.
Tax is coming. You still don't have to pay tax, but it is coming. I think it's going to be implemented next year.
So literally everything you earn is in your pocket to do what you like. Nothing goes to the government.
Yes.
Wow. When are we moving?
But I do pay for my health insurance and I do pay for my children's education.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I do pay for a lot of, so I think those are my taxes.
You're just taxed in a different way.
It is in a different way. And I choose how I want to spend my tax, where it goes to.
It's an expensive city as well to live. So
Yeah. I think that, it was to get people coming into the country. So it was obviously a strategy that was never going to be forever. Having no taxes attracted people from all around the world. And now they've gone, okay, we've got the people, the business model of Dubai is proven. Now we can start taxing people. That's
I don't think taxes are going to be as high as Europe anytime soon, but I think tax is coming, definitely.
And so with the business itself, what was your vision for what you wanted to create, what you wanted to sort of eventually, create a legacy, be able to, at some stage get the business to a point where you can sell it. You're already working with like lots of other professionals and colleagues that have given you a really nice business because you're multidisciplinary. So you've got a lot of strings to your bow.
I want to create a business. I want to create a brand that people trust with values like transparency and loyalty. Today, if you look at my clinic and if you look at my doctors, and I remember I had a meeting just before moving to this business with this business owner, and he said, Rami, I'm going to make sure you see 60 patients a day. And I was like, I don't want to see 60 patients a day. How am I going to provide the same quality of service for 60 different? I want to see 12. I think I'm happy with 12 to 14. Each patient has 30 minutes. We discuss what they were going through. We take our time in creating a treatment plan and we connect on a personal level. So this is the main goal, a brand that people trust and are loyal to, that has transparency based on science.
How do you balance your time with clinical versus, running your business, the admin, the managerial stuff? Do you have it timetabled?
I'm an absolute mess at the moment, mate. Absolute mess. So I try and finishing my meetings early in the morning or later on in the afternoon. I avoid any admin during the day. And then I've got one day off on Saturday where I go through all my emails and finish my admins. So it's challenging. It's challenging. As I'm building the team, I'm starting to delegate, and I'm having more free time for myself and my family.
Fair.
Systems and processes. If I give you any advice, systemize, process things.
Yeah.
Because people will come and go from your business probably at some point. So systems and processes as you scale up will stop your hair falling out.
Absolutely.
I learned that too late.
And then have a foundation and then improve it with time.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Where do you see the future of aesthetics heading? What innovations, trends excite you the most? If you sort of crystal ball gaze, where do you think we're going to be in the next sort of 5 to 10 years?
I'm scared, man.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried. We have to be very loud, hopefully through your platforms, to try stop where things are going, because if social media is taking over and influencers with no education are taking over, giving advice, we're heading to very dark time.
Yeah.
I would love, and it's Dubai started this, by the way, and I'm hoping everywhere around the world do it. Regulating social media influencers and platforms on what to say and what not to say, and getting the right approvals and being very strict about it.
Yeah, it's a problem that we've dealt with for years in Australia and around the country, around the world, where as a doctor, I have to watch what I say. I'm regulated. I've got a regulator breathing down my neck. But if you're a layperson, you can make all sorts of claims,
Which is very dangerous.
no regulation.
Very
and actually,
dangerous.
they're way more influential because the
Very
reach is
dangerous.
bigger.
Yeah.
Very
So
dangerous.
I don't see why it should be different rules. I think it should.
There was someone in Hollywood who did her lips and announced that she did her lips. Clinics reported a raise in 80% in the next 24 hours about lips inquiries.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
I don't think she had any kind of education, but let alone medical or scientific.
Now, in the end of our Injector Diaries episodes, we always ask a question from the previous guest for you.
Okay.
And our previous guest, I'm sure you know him, was Dr. Shino Bay from Fort Lauderdale. Are you friends with Shino?
I know Shino. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. His question was, what are you doing in your practice to take care of aging fibroblasts?
Of aging fibroblasts.
Yes.
I'm using science.
Yeah.
And today's science have informed us that using polynucleotides help in aging fibroblasts and improve its quality and regenerate it. So science is the right word.
So presumably using the chroma
Polyfill.
sort of polyfilm polynucleotides. How long have you used them for?
Over a year now.
Okay. And what sort of indications are your patients asking for with that type of treatment?
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Polynucleotides is something that in the region went B2C because certain celebrities posted online about how salmon did stuff to their
facial.
face.
Yes.
And therefore it's something that they come in saying, we've heard about it. My job is to educate them. Why do you want it? Because if you have a hammer, not everything is a nail. So polynucleotides will not fill your cheeks, will not lift your face. It will improve your skin quality. That's what it's going to do.
So what we do now is we ask you to leave a question for the next guest. Now, we don't know who it is yet, so it can be anything you want. It can be something philosophical, it can be science-based, clinical-based, whatever you like. So if you need a moment to think about it, let us know.
How would you deal with someone who's insisting on a tear trough filler where you don't believe that they need it?
Okay.
Great. Awesome.
We shall ask the next guest. We know who it is because we're going to record it tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Okay.
We'll leave it a secret for now. Rami, thank you so much. It's been awesome
Thank
to
you
meet
very
you and
much.
hang out with you.
That's
Forget
really
doing a
cool.
podcast
Thank you for
with you.
having
It's
me.
been fun.
This is awesome.
And next
Really, I
time we're
really
in
enjoyed
Dubai,
it.
we'll catch up.
Absolutely.
You know what? You got another home. Maybe we could do a podcast in the clinic.
We were saying in the Uber last night that you and Constantine need to come to Australia. He's been before, but you haven't been before, so we need to show you our city.
I think we're already in planning it. So I think it's in next year. We did contact the right people.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Cheers.
See you
Thanks,
later.
bye.
We hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. To stay up to date with our latest news and episodes, follow us on Instagram, and we're now on TikTok.
You can also now watch our full video episodes on YouTube and Spotify. So if you like what we do, please give us a like and subscribe. Please also consider joining our Patreon for invaluable business and injectable education. Get access to our global community of like-minded professionals, hints and tips videos, bonus podcast content, and more.
All of our social links, Patreon, and contact information are in the show notes below, and we'll see you in the next episode.